unsung heroes or either the villains of the road. Welcome back to Soul Quest. Let's talk about taxis in China. I understand there are some mistrust when it comes to taxi. Either it could be a horrible experience or either the best experience of your life. But how is it out here in China? If you wait till the end of the video, I'll tell you some of the red flags you should avoid when riding a taxi out here in China. Now, behind me is the Shenzhen's taxi. If it's other color than blue, then don't ride it. And usually they spawn in around the subway station or either major malls out here. And currently we are near Xiaxia Station, which is next to the major big mega mall out here in Nanshan. Now, is this method viable? Definitely viable for a lot of first-year player out there who just arrived in China or either tourists who does not have a WeChat account or either a bank account. Now, when it comes to these taxi, I think it's a universal knowledge that you can just pay cash or either just show the address to the driver and you get to your destination. And simple as that. So it makes it super convenient for a lot of people to travel around the world. Oh, tax is gone. Bye-bye. Now, price might fluctuate from year to year, but from what I remember, about like around 5 kilometer to 6 kilometer, you're paying about like 20 to 50 RMB, and 10 kilometers, just double that and double so on, so on, so on. It's not that expensive at all. And then it does not go over 10 RMB until you go to a certain threshold. So basically, the minimum payment is just 10 RMB in general. Let's talk about some misconception that people have when it comes to taxi. I heard a lot of stories where people think that they got scammed when it comes to taxi. Why is it whenever I go from here to here and comparison from airport to my home, which is closer, I'm paying extra? So the main reason why is because there is a pickup fee when it comes to the airport, and also sometimes there are tolls when it comes to the airport to get to your destination. Therefore, you are paying extra, and usually the pickup fee or either the toll, you'll be paying around like 15, 20 RMB, and it's charged up onto you. Another side is that if you are getting picked up at night, the fee will be a lot different in comparison to the daytime. Usually night fee are like 1.5 more or 1.25 more the price comparison to the regular fare that you usually charge on during the daytime. And a lot of people, including me on my very first year, I thought I got scammed. Why am I paying 100 RMB instead of like 100 RMB as usual on my daytime from SeaWorld all the way to the Longgang area? And it just doesn't really make sense. Later it goes, I think the more expensive it gets, so you do have to plan out the time where you want to go home or either you want to get to the destination area. Now we already got the basic gist of a Chinese taxi. Let's talk about the red flag you should watch out for when traveling out here in China. Now first, let's start with the most common one, is turning on your fare. Basically, this has like been told upon generation. It should be much more common knowledge. If you don't turn on your fare, you don't have a receipt on how much the price costs. And yes, sometimes they will just pick you up out of the airport and tell you, hey, it's gonna cost you 100 RMB to get to this destination. But once you get to the destination, they might say 150 RMB. Since it's just he say and I say, there's no such way for you to prove to the police on how much you should pay. Next, turn on the map application. If you don't have the local one, just use Google Maps. It should be almost the same. I understand you can still trust the driver since he knows what he's doing, but it's just a fail-safe measure in case if you do get scammed. Because in some cases, and rare cases actually, they will take you for a merry-go-round and you'd be paying extra for your fare. The last and most uncommon one is the money exchange. Make sure you know what you're giving out to the driver before you give it to him. Let's just say you have 100 RMB on your hand. Make sure you remember it's 100 RMB, because in some cases, he'll just say, you gave me a 20, and you kind of give more since you're a tourist, you don't really know your money, and you just kind of get scammed. It doesn't happen too often, but it does happen sometimes in some rare cases. To top everything off, the vibe of riding a taxi in China is same as it is as around the world. I think some cases you do have a taxi that's clean. Some cases the taxi is a bit messy with like a hint of dry smoke since they smoke a lot inside their taxi. The only difference is that some cases, a lot of taxi drivers are a bit curious about you and they will try to speak to you and talk to you in English. And it's gonna be a bit awkward feeling since you both don't really understand each other. In general, once you arrive at your destination, you pay your fares and you say goodbye. There's no tips, no hassle, no nothing like that. Even if you give a tip, I think like 90% of the time, they would just try to give it back to you because it's not in their culture to receive tips. And there's many cases where I give out tips and they just give the money back to me. And I just find it really weird. But you know what? It is China and that's how their culture is like. But I think that's the basics of taxi in China. And if you have any question or any interesting story, comment down below. I would love to know it. Until next time, Solo Quest logging out. Peace.
Solo